Hi, my name is Dave Danu. I follow Zenit St. Petersburg and I also manage the Zenit St. Petersburg Mauritius Twitter accounts.
Hi Dave, how are you doing?
Hi Sean, hope you're well. Yeah, very well, thanks.
I'm glad to be speaking to you, man. When a friend of mine actually recommended your account, I was so thrilled.
Yeah, it's. I think when people see it on Twitter, they think it's just like a joke. Like, why would there be a Russian Premier League club linked with Mauritius? And I think when I first started the account, did think I was a joke. Probably people still do think it's a spoiler alert. No, it's actually a serious account. Something that I'm quite proud of.
So, my first question, how and why FC Zenith?
So it all started. So I'll take you back, God, when I was younger, like a teenager. I've always followed football from around the world. Actually, not just football in general, but I've always had an interest in the world, various countries. I followed football from South America to Turkey, Eastern Europe, obviously the fatherland, Mauritius. And I was started with Zenit. So yeah, as I mentioned, one area I had an interest in South America, particularly in Brazil. And I remember, one club that interested me from that part of the world was actually Shakhtar Donetsk. With the amount of Brazilians that played in that team, so I really got interested with Shakhtar. And it's funny how I didn't become a Shakhtar fan actually, but I noticed there was a lot of Brazilians going to that part of the world. And I've always followed Russian football, I think, since the early 2000s, like on and off, basically. And the interest in Russia started something that's not linked to football. I think I've always had an interest in the former Soviet Union. The fact it was just obviously someone that lives in the West, how completely different living in that period would have been. I've been fascinated with like the architecture as well. Yeah, the link of like having an interest in the Soviet Union. And when I was a teenager, I played something called a play-by-mail, which was literally, simply a game through the post. So growing up here in the UK, we'd have football magazines like Match and Shoot magazine. And at the back, you'd have like these adverts for playing these games through the post where you would manage a football team. Essentially like Football Manager, but playing it through the post, basically, where you would receive like your sheet of paper with like your results, your team, and then you would submit like your tactics or transfers or whatever. And it was a great bit of fun. And I remember playing as a team called Torpedo Moscow, who have played in the top tier previously. They're currently a second tier team in Russia. So my interest started from this play by mail game, and given randomly this team called Torpedo Moscow, which I think I googled. I remember on their website back then that this was the early 2000s. That there really wasn't much content available. I wasn't saying I was a fan of the club. It was just more of an interest, and then I started later developing interest in various teams in that league years later, but I never had a connection with a club there or sort of supported a certain club from the Russian Premier League. I particularly had a team in as controversial on those from the Russian football community. You probably know who I'm talking about there. It wasn't until I've always had a presence on Twitter since the early days, since I was an early adopter since I think 2009. But I remember I've always followed football clubs all over the world on Twitter, and so I've always had a handful of Russian clubs on there. But I remember the English-speaking account of Zenit, and occasionally just engaging. I was mind blown by the fact that the English-speaking account was like just engaging with football fans, because it's such a rare thing to see. I thought they were doing it in such a great way, and for someone that's like worked in digital marketing and social media management, even not just like a Twitter football account, even a company business account, they always seem to be like faceless. They're never like really engaging with the customer or like the follower. And but Zenit were generally doing that, and I just thought that was so cool. And I remember just engaging with their tweets, and I was just mind blown that they were replying back to me. And I kind of like this team. It's funny because I don't normally support like a team that's like very, very successful. So that's kind of funny. But it was just linked to that. And I think I really like the fact that St. Petersburg is a city. It just looks such a beautiful place, and it's one place I've always wanted to visit as well. So like the location, the club, that fact, and it just sort of like, I don't know, I just got a connection really from like social media. And also the other facts was to do with when Hulk played for Zenit. I just thought he was like a phenomenal player. I remember when they signed him from FC Porto. I was watching some videos on Russian football, and I just remember I think Zenit played our rivals Spartak Moscow, and I just remember like this free kick he took, and I really thought like the net was just like gonna like break. Like it was just such a venomous shot, and like just like wow, just like what a free kick! This guy is this guy even human? I just loved seeing this guy play. As you know, he's just such an awesome talent, and just been mind blown by him. Really, yeah, just the connection with Hulk and their social media presence, and obviously this always had this interest in Russia and the former Soviet Union. It just led me to that club.
So you are half Mauritian and half English?
Yeah, that's correct, and that probably confuses a lot of people. So I've actually got it in my Twitter bio. Yeah, so born here, English mother, Mauritian father. The story behind the Twitter account is I noticed that there's quite a few Zenit St. Petersburg accounts for various countries, and I just had this brainwave. I was like, why not do like a Mauritius one and promote not just Zenit, but like the Russian Premier League to the island, because over there the Premier League dominates. Like on the island, there's just like the majority of the population are either Liverpool or Manchester United fans. I was like, I have this thing where I really, even though I'm from the UK, don't like the way the Premier League dominates everything.
Right.
So I just thought I had this crazy idea, and I loved the challenge. I was like, simply, why don't I create an account and see where it goes? I mean, if I'm honest, I think I probably have about maybe one or two people follow the account. Everyone else is from around the world, but I think purely for branding, I like it, and for me, it's like a long-term project as well.
And your local football club, there's a story behind that as well.
Yeah, so I'm a Leyton Orient fan, so they're from like the east end of London. I've only been following them since 2016. When I got into football, I must have been about 7 years old. And if I'm honest, being a West Ham United fan, my granddad was a supporter, and he was originally from that part of London. And the region I'm from, most people are West Ham fans. So I grew up, I'd say, for about 20 plus years supporting that club. But I fell out of love with the football team, mainly because they moved stadiums, and I was against their move. And they moved, for those who don't know, moved to the Olympic Stadium. And I went to about 2 games there, and I really didn't like the match day experience. And like, we got the running track. There was, I think, a lot of supporters fighting, and yeah, it was just like this really toxic atmosphere. And I was like, I really don't like this. And before the club left their old stadium, Upton Park, it's like, if I don't like this, I'll just go to a lower league team. And I kept it in East London because of my granddad. And I became an Orient supporter like the worst time ever. They're run by like sort of like shady, if that's the right word, a shady Italian owner who, he almost killed the club. The club were relegated from League Two in non-league and the National League, and luckily they're back where they belong. But it's been since 2016. It's been a roller coaster journey. But you know, I wouldn't have it any other way. And I really truly love Orient. Just great family club, and yeah, I'm very proud to be part of that football team.
You pick really interesting clubs, man. You mentioned in your post that you have a soft spot for Sunderland as well.
Yeah, so that's true as well. So really interesting teams, as you say. So my best friend's a Newcastle fan, and he was getting married, and for his stag do, we went up to Newcastle, and we all wore like our football shirts. For a joke, I went to up there. I wore like a Sunderland shirt, and I kept the shirt, but like I just got like interested in the club. I just think they've got amazing supporters. Those guys will support them. I mean, if there's nowhere where Sunderland's located, my God, those supporters travel far to see their club play. And I think I just got they had a bad time, and I sort of related to what they were going through with like the ownership as well. And I started listening to like some podcasts about the club, and I just got really, really interested in what happened to them. And I somehow got just sucked into the madness. And so yeah, I've a soft spot for them as well. So yeah, a bit different. So at least with Zenit, they win games. So
in the same post, you mentioned controversial teams. I wanted to ask you about that because I have no clue about the Russian league. What's that about?
So spoiler alert, I'm talking about. Well, they're not in the Russian Premier League. I don't even think they're in second tier anymore. I think they're even lower than that. But everyone probably remembers, even if you don't know about the RPL, a club from Dagestan called Angie. They're players like Samuel Eto'o, Roberto Carlos, all the superstars. So I'm talking about that club where they just went crazy on a spending spree with like these like quality players, and as you can see, it hasn't really got them anywhere. So yeah, I was really referring to them because I think at one point, like everyone was like the media always were like Russia. I think Russian football was getting interest just simply because like splashing the cash. You know, at the point where I guess it's the same thing with like the Chinese Super League. I mean, we know it's not like glamorous anymore, but at one point when all the players were going there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just pretty much referring to them. I guess you've got like, I don't know if it's fair to say controversial team, but you've got like Akhmat Grozny from Chechnya, another one that's sort of, I guess, just because the region they're from. So I guess that'd be another club. Like a few years ago, they only changed their name. They used to be known as Terek Grozny, and then I think they recently changed to Akhmat, which I believe is a link to, I don't know if you'd call him like the president of Chechnya or whatever his title is, but I think it's linked to something to do with that.
Your earliest memory of the club?
Oh, earliest memory. I think it's something that I've already previously mentioned. I think it's when Hulk was there. It was that I hate how it's called a derby because it's not. It's just like St. Petersburg against Moscow. It's like rivaled cities, but I think in Russia it's called a derby. Just that Hulk free kick. I think that was my earliest memory. I can't even remember if they won or not. I just was just so blown away with like the power of him striking that ball. And I think that was just pretty much my first memory.
And who is your club legend?
Oof. For me, I would have to go, because I know you're an Arsenal fan, so you're gonna know this guy. So I would have to go for Arshavin, simply because I mean this guy started out, I think, around 1999. I think he made his club debut. Some English football fans might even remember him. So we used to have something in Europe called the Intertoto Cup. And I think he made his debut against when Bradford City were in English top tier. So that's how long ago that was. I mean, this guy is so well decorated. I mean, with like trophies, he's won the Premier League, the League Cup, the Russian Super Cup, the UEFA Cup when we won it in 2008 against Rangers. I think he's even been named like Russian Footballer of the Year. And he's still involved in the club. I believe he's got some sort of like sporting director role. And I just remember him as well briefly in, I think it was Euro 2008. I think he had a really good tournament in that for the national team. So for me, yeah, it has to be him.
Who are the club's biggest rivals?
It has to be like Spartak. You know, this is a club that, I hate saying it, they've done well. They've got like trophies. I think they've won more. Again, I really hate saying this. I think they've even won like more league titles. You've also got like the city rivalry between obviously Moscow being the capital city and St. Petersburg being since like the northern capital.
Right. So
there's always like this rivalry between those two cities. So yeah, definitely them. And I would say probably like some of the other like big Moscow clubs as well. The likes of like CSKA, Dynamo, or Dynamo, however you want to pronounce it. I'd even say like this may be a bit of a weird one because they're located in the south of the country, maybe like Krasnodar, in the sense that they've really come up in the last so many years. I know they like, there was quite like, I know it's sponsored by this company called Winline. You always hear call it like the Winline Derby. Again, Derby for me it's a bit of a strange one because of like geographically you've got like Zenit in the north and Krasnodar in the south. So yeah, I'd say those clubs as well. It is such a niche league, but there is people that religiously follow it. If you check out guys on Twitter from like Russian Football News, I think on their Twitter handles @RFN, and these other two guys. There's a podcast called WTI podcast, which is run by a guy called Hanu, who's is from India. Not sure what part of India, and you've got a guy called Artem, who's Russian heritage, but really like their podcast. It's entertaining. They sometimes go off topic, which is quite funny. But yeah, we've got a nice little community, and yeah, you've got some people that they're really like hardcore fans. Like they really really do know their stuff, and like I say, they really like follow the game religiously.
Players who you feel deserve a bit more praise for their time at the club.
I thought long and hard about this one, and I'm going to go for a controversial choice. So I'm going to go for Aleksandr Kokorin, and the reason why it's controversial is he did a stint in prison. So he made like over 60 appearances for Zenit. I believe he's got about 17 goals between 2016 to 2019 season. Seems like a bit of like a troubled character. He was involved in an altercation with a government official at a restaurant, and I believe he did like 18 months inside.
Wow.
And when he's come out, I think he played for Sochi. I can't even remember if he played many games, and then he's now playing in Syria for Fiorentina. But I just think he's such a skillful player. And I think I always thought he was great on the counter, fearless, pacey, just great, really good to watch. I know that he started his career at Dinamo. I think he had 2 spells there, and he scored quite a lot of goals there. And for me, I know it's a controversial one, but for me, he's one player I think that the playing ability just, for me, I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with me on that one because it is controversial. But I think even on the YouTube, the Russian Premier League YouTube channel, I think there's a bit where you can see like his highlights of his career in the league, and honestly, you'll see what I mean. I really don't know how he's getting on in Italy. I don't really follow Italian football, so I'm not too sure. But I'm just hoping that for the time he spent inside, that he is a different character.
Young players you're looking to see more of?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Andrei Mostovoy, who's 23 years old. He's previously played like in Zenit 2, so like the second team. He's a winger. Another one I'd say that's great on the counter. Again, very, very pacey. I think last season he bagged himself like 6 goals. I just think he's got a great vision, knows where people are, I can read the game really well. Yeah, just definitely one to watch. And I recommend anyone to keep an eye on him. And I really believe that you don't see like many Russians like go abroad, but he's one I really hope that he really does do well.
That's an interesting point you bring up about Russians abroad. I've been watching Golovin for a bit.
For Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had this great season. Where was he before Monaco? I forget where he was. But I really noticed him at the 2018 World Cup. He was the standout player for Russia there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see someone like that. Obviously, I guess people are starting to watch the French league now, obviously, because of a certain someone playing in that league nowadays. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that is really good to see. And I really hope that the more do go to Europe and, show. I mean, you got like a Marin. I couldn't say his name. Marinchak at Atalanta. He's another one standout. He used to play at Lokomotiv. So yeah, I really hope that in the future we do see more.
I was watching this interesting interview with one of these players. I forget his name. His last name is Forbes. He was playing for one of these Russian teams, and there's a restriction of the number of players, right? So there are 6 foreign players that are allowed in each team, and that's why there's sort of a smaller pool, and these guys tend to play from club to club over the years. Is that correct? Am I correct?
That is correct, and it's something that's always talks about with Russian football fans, and they say that this foreigner limit is like killing the game essentially. And yeah, I think they are trialing some new setup for the league. I've heard rumours. I think I read about it, but it sounded like the club like reforming the league. It just sounded really like complicated. But yeah, we will say it's like this draconian rule that needs to be lifted. I mean, and it goes to show. I mean, look at the whenever like there's Russian clubs in the Champions League, Europa League, whatever it is, they never do really well. Like, and that's one contributor really.
A game that left you elated and a game that left you disappointed.
I can't remember the score, but I think it was last season just before the winter break when we beat Spartak away. That's just a nice feeling beating them, but it was just the fact that going into the winter break and beating your rivals. And I remember just like last year being in lockdown. It's been tough. You're miserable, and then just seeing the team do one over your rivals. Yeah, that was just great. Although I cannot, I just remembered it. I think the scoreline was 3-1. And what I loved about that game was we made it 3-1. Like I think the dying embers of the game. Artem Zhuba scoring, and to do that just before the season break, There's probably more, but right now my mind's gone blank, if I'm honest. But that one, another game that I felt frustrated. Let me think. I think that was against Rubin Kazan last season. Did we lose or did we? I think we lost. And I just think it was one of those games where it was just felt like we couldn't do anything right, sort of thing. You know, you get like one of those like bogey sort of grounds. I thought it was sort of like that. I'm trying to find out on my phone what the actual score was. I just remember it was against Rubin. It just been a disappointing game. We recently played them and we changed that. We beat them like 3-1 away. Zhuba getting 2 and Claudinho. And it wasn't the Rubin team that we struggled, before. I'm just trying to remember what the scoreline was against that. Oh no, so I got that wrong. So I think it was at home, sorry. And that game, now I remember. So yeah, we went 1-0 up. Yorkin scoring, I think it must have been like 30th minute. I think they scored like late on 70th minute. And I just remember that one just being a bit like frustrating for whatever reason. Again, there's probably more games, but for some reason my mind has gone totally blank. But those two games, for whatever reason, they stand out. Going back to the league, I mean, not just Zenit, but I just feel like a reason why this league, not just the team, but the league, that there's like never a dull moment. There's always something happening. Like last season, a team going bust and disappearing to, I don't know. There's just like, there's always something in this league. Sometimes you feel like it's like a soap opera. So entertaining, like on and off the pitch, really.
When you put it like that, it somehow reminds me of the championship. I don't know why. Is it as competitive?
The championship, I'd say, is, if I'm honest, more exciting. I think I don't think it's always obvious who's going to win it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the RPL, it's not really like that. You sort of got an idea. It's either going to be like, it's going to be Zenit season, or it's going to be like a Spartak season, or it's going to be like a, I don't know, Lokomotiv season, or whatever club it is, or like one of the top teams. You're not going to see like, I don't know, FC Ufa, for example, like win it or something like that, which is a shame. But I wish it was more open like that. But still, yeah, I still love the league, and yeah, I recommend it to anyone. What's great about it, if you like, I think for like £5 a month, I'm able to watch all like the game on like YouTube, which is like a bargain, really, like £5 and all those games you can watch.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. How do you watch? So it's on YouTube, but you have to pay for it.
That's right. So I pay like £5 a month, and I get all like the games on there. You get selected games in English. Luckily, Zenit being a popular team, there's a lot of the time where you get a Zenit game in English if you're lucky. Sometimes I'm not bothered if it's the odd game where you get it like with like Russian commentary. That's fine. But I can't think of any other leagues that really do that. But I really like the RPL have really done that and promoted it to like a global audience now. So for someone who likes to promote the league, it's really great to see.
How good is your Russian now?
Bad. I actually don't know many things to say. I mean, a bit of like the alphabet, and I tell the truth, I can say a few things. So like hello, privyet, очень приятно, like nice to meet you. To tell the truth, I learned a lot of it from YouTube. From there's a guy from the UK called Bored and Bankrupt who's similar to me, has a fascination with the Soviet Union, and he travels like Russia, Ukraine, previously travelled to like Belarus, those sort of countries, and he speaks Russian fluently. So I learned the odd word just from his YouTube channel, really.
You said your grandfather was a West Ham supporter.
That's right, yeah.
And you said to me that you often think about how he would react to the club right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think my granddad was just so like old-fashioned. I don't think he would like. I wouldn't say myself that I'm old-fashioned. I can adapt to change, but I just don't think he would approve of the move. And like, I know, I still have like friends who are fans, and they've adapted to it, and they feel like, oh yeah, it's starting to feel like home now. But for me, like, it just didn't. After a while, it just didn't interest me, and like, I always get fans because obviously they're in Europe now and they're doing well. Like, oh, wouldn't you go back? I'm like, no. I just all of a sudden, I lost interest, and yeah, it is interesting if he was still alive, if he would feel the same way.
What in particular was it that really made you gravitate towards Leyton Orient?
I think so when I become a fan in the darkest time in their history, I feel like I was like involved in that. There was like last home game of the season when they got relegated. There was a protest where we all went on the pitch. I was involved in that. I think I just felt all of a sudden like I'd only been involved that season. I just felt so passionate about how this club almost died, and it was scary. I mean, you start supporting this club and think, oh my god, there might not be no more. All that history, boom, gone. And we've seen it in this country. We've seen it with like the likes of Bury FC, Macclesfield Town. A team we played the other week, Oldham Athletic. They've got owner problems as well. And I felt like I was just like a part of something. And luckily we got our club back from. I think the protest did have ramifications in a positive way. It wasn't violent, and we chanted and basically just told this guy that we want you out, and that's exactly what happened. But I don't know if it's all to do with those links. And I really felt that season there was a few times where we'll pick up like a miracle result. I remember always on Valentine's Day we went to a team that was, if I remember rightly, doing really well, Plymouth Argyle, and we won away there. Nobody would think that we would have won that game. And throughout the season, I think we must have had something crazy like 5 managers. And you saw the team get younger and younger and younger. Like, I think the best player there that season was a guy called Jay Simpson. He I think he ended up playing in America for like Philadelphia Union, I think was the team name. He went there, and we really missed him. And then just other players were leaving, and like we were just playing kids. And it was literally you would go to the games. It was literally like men versus boys. But when we got like these sort of like miracle results, I just started to find it like it was getting exciting. Like, oh, what if like Orient could do the impossible? And then you had other teams around us that were doing very bad. You had like Newport County and Hartlepool, and somehow Newport County, they somehow survived and dragged Hartlepool United into the relegation zone, and then they got relegated with us. But I just think it was just that connection. I find it's very family orientated there. I like that aspect of the club as well. We always say it's the small club with a big heart, and it really is there. I just love like the whole community spirit around it and everything like that. And yeah, I think that's why I'm so proud to support that team. Every game since following Zenit with the Twitter account, I guess when they've like won the league or like won like the Russian Super Cup or something like that, I've just generally like just got this feel good factor about it. I guess with them, I'm not used to winning really. So when you support a club like this, it's like it does feel really good. It really does. I'm no like glory hunter, but I just just seeing them like win a league title again, and just seeing that what I like, and I really do get that feel good factors when we have one like those. We've won the league. The team always wears like these gold shirts, and just seeing the team like decked in gold, that they're champions of the RPL. That's always an awesome feeling.
You have a podcast of your own, which I find really, really interesting, man. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure if many people would find it interesting though, but yeah, sure. It's very, very niche. I guess in general, I'm niche. I mean, come on, look, I've got a Zenit Mauritius football account on Twitter, so it says it all. But I have in my spare time, I have a podcast called the Retro Wet Shaving Podcast. They're interested in traditional wet shaving. So if those people are not familiar with that, think back to how like your grandfather would shave, the old-fashioned way of shaving with like a shaving brush, a double-edged razor, or like a straight or cutthroat razor. So it's actually online, quite a big hobby. It's got a big community, particularly on Instagram, where guys show what they're called like hashtag SOTD, shave of the day. So like, your shaving products, what you're going to use, and that sort of thing. And I mainly interview YouTubers, so guys that are shaving live on YouTube and showing all like the products. I've talked to artisans who make like shaving soaps, manufacturers, and that kind of thing. I think I'm on like episode 12. I think I started it this year, I believe, in late March. And yeah, that's something I do in my spare time. Again, it's proper niche, but and for me, this way of shaving, it's so much better than the mainstream cartridge razors that most guys use, or like some people just hate shaving because they all they know is this way of using these cartridge razors. They don't know about like the traditional way of shaving, and I do love teaching people about it. I mean, recently I got in contact with an old school friend and told him about it, and he was like, "Oh wow, that sounds really cool." Tried it, and now I've converted him, which I think is awesome.
There's something very one is old school, definitely, but there's something very therapeutic and ceremonial about a shave.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. That's another reason I like it. Like I don't have time to shave in the morning. Like it's just like I get up, showered, dressed. I like to take my time with it. So that's another reason I don't have time in the morning to do it. But I like doing it in the evening, using the various products. Like there's so many like great scents I like to use. Just like the lathering, putting the brush on your face, just taking your time, and it's like your own time with your own thoughts. Get like a playlist on my phone, get Spotify on, and yeah, it really is like therapeutic. And I really recommend people trying it. Really, and yeah, I don't know if Zen-like is the right word, but yeah, it really cheers me out.
It really can. I feel the same way about a shave and sometimes a haircut as well. It just puts you in a different perspective. It seems like a weight has been lifted.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I don't do it like every day, maybe about 3 times a week. But yeah, I totally get it. Even if you've got like a 1 or 2 days growth, and then like you've shaved, and yeah, you do feel like that. You're totally right. And I guess yeah, same with the haircut as well. Just that refreshed sort of feeling, and yeah, you just feel good.
Saw that you mentioned in your bio that you put it as the dyspraxic shaver.
Yes,
Is that correct?
yes. That's linked to my podcast and Twitter. So that's just my Twitter name for like me being involved in like, the wet shaving community. But yeah, so I'm quite open about it. I have something called like dyspraxia, which is like a best way of describing it. It's sort of like a coordination disorder. So I can, if I'm honest, I struggle with the most mundane thing. So for example, when I went to school, I would I would struggle to use a pen or a pencil. Like I could not get the concept of like the grip and affect speech. Sometimes how you interpret information. So yeah, it can be the most mundane things can turn out for me like a nightmare. It can be stressful. Yeah, there's actually quite a huge chunk of like the population in the UK that have it. I still don't know the whole science behind it, but predominantly I would say males have it, and also if you're born like premature, there's a higher risk that you have it. So, but I think it's one side of the brain that some things just don't function properly. And the story behind that Twitter account, the Dyspraxic Shaver. So 2020 was pretty much, I got diagnosed with dyspraxia, and 2020 was also a year for me that I discovered traditional wet shaving. So I put those two together. But also, I think it's just a bit ironic and me just making fun of myself, like, because I have poor coordination and there's me using like these sharp razors. So I guess I'm trying to make fun of myself as well with that name. So that's what that Twitter profile is about.
What you mentioned was that I think was it on your post or was it on your website? You mentioned that because of this you're unable to drive.
Yeah. Yes, I always pin it at the top of my Twitter account, mainly because I just want to raise awareness for it, because there's so many people that don't know what it is. Like everyone hears about like dyslexia,
Yeah.
but like they never know what dyspraxia is. Straight in that just don't know about it. And I wrote that post last year, around I think early October. We have something called like Dyspraxia Awareness Week. I wrote that article for that and how I got diagnosed last year. But yeah, I can't drive. Yeah, I really can't drive. My brain just me like trying to focus on the road, changing the gear and that sort of thing. And if say somebody was talking to me, I get distracted. Trying to do all those things in a process at once, I just struggle. And yeah, I really don't think I'll ever drive.
Wow. Yeah. So that kind of really puts it into perspective of how you sort of struggle with it, and you know what it can be for somebody, and how how frustrating that can be sometimes.
Oh, it is. If you know Link, like obviously this is a football podcast. If you're looking at me like as a kid playing football, like I remember, I think you even mentioned it in that post. Like I remember at primary school, like all you had to do to get into the primary school football team was literally just turn up on a Tuesday evening and play, just play football and train. I think it was me, I even write this in the blog, me and one other guy who I'm convinced had something similar to me, or some other like neuro issue. We didn't make it into the team. And we're just that bad. It's funny, like I'm a sports fan, but playing it, it's a different story. Like, yeah, I'm so bad. Like, I really suck. But you know, but you can't start watching like sport. It's just I still find it something that I love, and I feel like it's a big thing in my life. Obviously, no one's gonna be able to see this, but this shirt was my very first Zenit St. Petersburg shirt from 2 seasons ago. Yeah, I just live in this shirt basically ever since I created that Twitter account and took an interest in the club. So for me, number one is this blue Zenit shirt. Secondly, I bought on eBay some like I didn't realize that Zenit I believe it was the 1970s played my hometown team, Southend United.
Wow.
And I bought the football program of that. So that's another one that's kind of special. I think I've got another one from the 1980s. I can't remember who. I think it was a European game. I can't remember who they're playing, but I think it was a European game. So like, yeah, those two programs from the 70s, 80s, they're sort of like really special. I guess, yeah, just those ones really. For Zenit, non-Zenit ones, I guess. Probably my first Orient shirt when I started supporting the club. That's a very special one. Obviously, because the history in that season, good and bad. That's another one. I mean, I do collect football shirts. I've got so many, it's ridiculous. From you name it, like I've probably got it from various leagues. I went to Brazil in 2009. I went to southern Brazil, and I remember saw Grêmio play, or Grêmio as like Brazilians would say. Ronaldinho used to play for, where he started his career. I've got the football shirt that I bought when I was over there, so I guess that's another one I would say that is very special to me.
This journey, what has it meant to you? What has it brought to your life?
Not as interesting as like compared to the other guests I said. Like, I've not met anyone like face to face or gone to Russia yet, so I've not had that aspect. But I love the fact that you just think like, oh, who would like watch like Russian football, and then like you go on like Twitter and like guys that are similar to you, which without the internet you would never ever have. So for me, it's that like there's people like here in the UK. There's people from like, I don't know, the Philippines, Indonesia. We all follow the same league, and I just find that so awesome, and I just love that. And you feel like you would think, you're so obscure, like nobody's watched that or something. You find that actually, there's actually people in the world that are similar to you. Yeah, I just love. And yeah, I still think this project with the Twitter account is still long term. I still don't know how to do it, but just I guess just gaining a presence slowly and just talk to other people from other parts of the world and just trying to put Zenit on the map, even though I probably have like 200-300 followers. But I would just say that really. It's just the other people that you see that have the same passion as you, and yeah, that's just awesome.
Well, Dave, thanks for coming on Faraway Fan. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, man.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm proud to be associated with the other guests you've had on. Great concepts, and just keep up the work.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Thanks to you. Now I'm going to be looking up the Russian league.
Definitely, we could do some more fans. So that sounds good. Good plan.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks again.
Pleasure.